Hey everybody, Jonathan David Ray here, and I'm coming to you from the bedroom floor of my mother's guest room with my son Caden, because I'm introducing my new podcast, Wealthy Creatives, the first episode of it. And I was supposed to film the introduction after our interview yesterday with my first guest, and guess who forgot to film the introduction? So you get this, you get the bedroom floor. All right. I'm excited to announce this new podcast called Wealthy Creatives. It's going to be a celebration and conversations with other creative professionals, videographers, photographers, musicians, coaches, course builders, designers, creatives of all shapes and sizes. And we're going to be just celebrating their work, what they do, lessons they've learned, and just hot takes on where the world is going in regards to the creative fields. And I'm super excited for this first episode with a newer friend of mine named Joseph Ibarra. And Joey, he runs a business called Porchlight Productions here in Atlanta. And he's going to tell you all about it, but they do amazing work. I'm super excited for you to get to listen to some of what he's done. He's a super wise dude. And without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to that conversation, but look forward to seeing you in another episode and having more conversations with fun and cool people. And by the way, if you're a creative and you'd be interested to be on this podcast, shoot me an email, which is at podcast@acadiaos.com. All right, enough shameless plugs. Here's the episode, and we'll see you in the next one. But yeah, since I don't really know you super well, we're fairly new friends. I'd love to even just start before we jump into like what you do and talking about that. Maybe tell me a little bit about yourself, like where you grew up, what got you into film. You can give me the Cliff Notes version, the 50,000 foot view. Totally up to you.
Yeah, I'll do my best to keep it brief. I grew up in Dallas, Texas. Was raised by my grandparents. Mom and dad have not really been in the picture. But yeah, grew up in a very like traditional family. And throughout high school and college, that's when I found my love for photography, and I took some photography classes, and my teacher at the time told me that I was really good at it, and it just stuck out to me, and she told me to go take creative risks, and I saw that as climbing up buildings in Dallas and hanging my feet off and taking a picture and being that guy. And at the time, Instagram had blown up, and so I would get tons of likes on stuff like that, and so I kept doing that.
That's the secret of your business. So you should go back to that.
I know. Well, I would, but like Instagram doesn't take photos, or doesn't like do as well with the photos anymore.
Just put audio to it. That's what I heard the trick is.
Yeah,
that's what the gurus say.
There you go. Yeah. So anyway, in high school, I started taking portraits of people and started shooting weddings. Went to college for photography. And just like fell in love with being around a camera. My aunt, when I was young, like always carried a camera around, and I was like, I want to be that person that just like captures everything. So that's what I did. In college, I quickly began to get really tired of shooting weddings. I was doing one or two a week, and so it was very taxing. And like I thought it was going to be, I'm only working the weekends, but I was spending my whole week working on like basically a templated process of shooting a wedding, and I wasn't like getting the creative itch out.
The hard thing about weddings too, at least because of my musical background, I played a lot of weddings. But for me, as soon as the wedding was over, my job was done. But for you, and also when you're doing a wedding, there's like 100 environments you're shooting in. You're like, this is the bride getting ready, the groom getting ready. There's so much content. I can't even imagine. It was great for me hopping in the car being like, thank goodness I'm done with that.
And some people have it figured out, and they make great livings, and they love doing that. So I'm not nagging on it at all. It just wasn't for me. I wasn't being fulfilled in that role. And so in college, So the reason went to the college I was at Dallas Baptist University is because they opened up a photography program, and that's what made me go over there. Well, at the same time, I met my wife, and
In school?
yeah, at Dallas Baptist University.
Was she getting a different degree, or?
She was in, she might kill me for not knowing, but it was like mixed media, so it was illustration and design.
Interesting. So you bonded over the creative stuff.
Yes. And we were friends for a long time, and then I started dating her and talked to her dad, and the condition for marrying her was finishing college. And so, throughout college, I was rushing through. I was maxing out how many classes I could take, as advised by the school. And I was like asking them, can I take more? And they occasionally would let me take a class more. And then I was taking winter and summer classes.
How many hours was your maximum semester?
I forget what was, I think max was, you could do is 21.
Yeah.
I think I had 27 a couple semesters.
Dude.
Yeah. And I was also working a full-time job.
That is insane. I think the most I ever did in a semester was like 15 or 18 hours. And I thought that was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I was determined. So, they didn't expect, when they opened that program, they didn't have all the classes ready for that degree. They didn't think anyone would make it that far. So I ended up taking a lot of design and web design classes and
extra stuff.
Yeah, extra stuff because they didn't have any photography classes. I honestly probably only took like 2 or 3 photography classes.
So they had a photography major?
Yeah.
And like hardly any classes?
Hardly any classes because I was flying through.
Was it a newer program?
It was brand new.
Okay, so they were like building the
That's
plane
the reason I went to Dallas Baptist University. Yeah, is for the photography program.
We'll take your money.
Yes. Well, yeah.
And we'll build this as we'll learn as you learn.
Yeah. In hindsight, I'm really grateful actually because it broadened me from I like taking pictures to like what makes a good picture in terms of composition and rules and design and color theory and stuff like that. Like I feel like I grew a lot and I actually really enjoyed it. Like I'm not a designer or illustrator. I know how to work in the Adobe suite because of all those classes. And I spent a long time building websites, but by no means am I a designer or illustrator or anything like that. However, I feel like pretty confidently I could hop into a creative director role because of all my experience in school. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's kind of par for the course for those of us that are in creative spaces. Is like you kind of learn everything.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever met somebody who's like, oh, I just do this one thing and I've never done it. I feel like everybody's done. I dabbled here, I dabbled there.
Yeah.
I'm curious about something. You mentioned growing up with your grandparents. Did growing up with your grandparents like influence photography, videography in any way? Like, was there anything connected there or no?
No, not really. I think maybe the lack of something artistic being there built that in me. I think, I mean, I've never really thought about it before, but my grandpa was my father figure, my grandma was my mother figure, and it was, a grind. They were trying to provide and raise me well, and so that meant my grandpa was working a bunch, and my grandma was also working a bunch, and I honestly hardly saw them.
Interesting.
Yeah.
In some ways, I think what got me into music is a little similar to like when you said the absence of it. So my mom was a school teacher, and my dad was like a software programmer for like when I was a kid, he was with Hughes Aircraft. He was working on like radars and stuff like that. We didn't even listen to music in the house outside of Christmas music and like when we went to church. And so for me, getting into music was once I literally discovered music. We bought a boombox to be able to play books on tape when we went on vacation, and I would just let it live in my room, and I had the radio dial, and I literally found music. I was like, oh, this is learning songs that weren't church songs or Christmas songs.
Yeah.
And the fact that it wasn't in my house, like, was, I think, a magnetic pull for me, because I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. I want to be able to create something like that. And I think I was writing music before I even learned to play music, because I would just like, I would listen to something and I would love it. And I'm like, I want to write something like it, which I feel like when you start off as a creative, you're mimicking a lot of like what you love. You're like, oh, I love that. I want to make something like that, sure. Which is helpful for learning something. But yeah, when you said that, maybe the absence was made it, I don't know, maybe it sometimes makes something magnetic when you're like, oh, I haven't experienced this before. This is new and cool.
Yeah, that's funny. I had a similar experience with music.
Did you?
Yeah, well, my sister...
Do you play music?
No, I mean, I grew up playing a little bit of guitar, but I've never played.
Okay.
But my sister, grew up listening to Hawthorne Heights and all the emo music, and so like...
Emo was so big. Like when how old are you?
I'm 28.
Okay, you're 28. Oh man. So I'm 38. I'm a little older. You seem so you seem like you're right there up with me.
Well,
that's hilarious. But I was gonna say, like, when we were younger though, I felt like emo music was. Now I feel like there's a type of person that listens to emo music. Back then, I feel like everybody.
Oh, I still
listen to emo music.
Yeah, I still listen to it, but I had the same experience. Like, my sister had handed me down one of her CD players, and. Yeah. I remember it was like this secret thing that I went to. It wasn't a secret thing, like I wasn't hiding it, but it felt like this
it was your thing,
treasured thing. If we're going on a road trip or whatever, I would be in the back with my CD player and headphones on, and it's just such a great experience. And so,
dude, I miss CDs. Yeah. I'll tell you why I miss CDs. It felt like such an experience listening to the music. Oh, yeah. Like you have your disc player that's like can handle being bounced around. It had like when they started making cool ones, that was like, oh, this is protected from being bumped.
Yeah,
it won't skip. And then you had your like giant Rolodex of your favorite CDs and stuff like that. Yeah. You could like stick the album artwork, and now it's all digital.
Yeah,
I even miss the original iPod, because it felt like it was a special separate thing.
Totally.
And now it's just mixed in with everything.
I almost had the same experience with my iPod being able to like scroll like that, and I just thought it was so cool.
Do the little clicky.
Yeah. But to kind of wrap up my background. Yeah. In college, I had a professor who, in my web design class, who knew I was, getting into video and was already a photographer. He also worked at the company I Am Second, the organization. Yeah. And sent me on my first freelance gig, where I traveled from California. I flew into California and traveled all the way to Texas, capturing the white chair that they do interviews in, and that everyone had signed. And I met like a couple of like my idols, and I didn't even know that I was going to do that. But like, I don't know if you know who Austin Carlisle is. Mm-hmm. He was in the band of Mice and Men.
Okay, I do know that band. Yeah.
And like the day of, we had made it to Las Vegas, and he was like, yeah, we're going to go meet Austin Carlisle for dinner. And I was like, what?
That's so cool.
I was like, what? What do you mean?
That's awesome.
And I was like, you mean of Mice and Men, Austin Carlisle? And they were like, yeah. Are you a fan? I was like, that's what got me into, like, I listened to a lot of metal music, and that's like what got me into metal music. So it just felt like this, I don't know, maybe that propelled me to continue doing freelance for a long time. But anyway, out of college, I moved here from Dallas, moved to Georgia, worked for an agency, and absolutely hated it.
What was the thing that you hated? Like, what was there something specific that drove the?
Well,
the
it
hatred?
Just wasn't ran well, and I don't want to like, talk bad about the owner at all, because I mean, he brought on a bunch of people. He'd done something really difficult, and it's worthy to be, admired, and like he was doing the best he could. But I don't think he was just built for that kind of leadership. Yeah, at least at the time. And so I had a lot on my plate. I came in doing photo and video, but ended up doing photo, video, web design, graphic design, social media posting, like pretty much everything. Yeah. And
you're the Swiss Army knife.
I was just taxed. I was super taxed.
Yeah.
And so after that, I was like, I don't really have like the mental capacity to go and test doing that again. And I was young, and so I was like, I'm just gonna do like freelance. And I developed a couple clients of my own, but really I was operating as a DP and any position I could get on a film set for agencies. And a little bit less than 2 years ago, I was tired of being the middleman and started Porchlight Productions so that I could work directly as an authority with businesses to, help them fulfill their video needs.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, I want to jump into Porchlight Productions because was your pivot into brand films fairly recent? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm curious about that jump. What was the driving factor behind focusing on specifically making basically brand films and assets for businesses?
Yeah. So for context, throughout the past 3 years before I rebranded to Porchlight Productions, I've been selling video services as like whatever you need, and more so allowing the business owner or company marketing director to tell me what they need.
Yeah.
And that's great and it works, but my goal is to grow a unique business and grow something different than the other production companies in the area. And I like in talking with my business coach, he was saying like you need to put a stake in the ground, and whether that be niching down to services, like my own services, or niching down to industry. And I chose niching down in my services. And so my stake in the ground is brand film, where we develop a 1-minute video that says what you do, who you do it for, and why you do it, which is a little bit backwards compared to what most people think a brand film is. Most people think a brand film is, their origin story and how they got started and the history of the company. But the fact of the matter is no one cares about that. People want to be, people respond best when they realize that they are in a hole, and you have to tell them that they're in a hole. And then you have to hand them a rope and give them a way out of that hole. And so that's what a brand film does. It like allows that company to share with their ICP what hole they're in, and then throw them a rope.
I love that. Yeah, I remember when I first started my business, my ideal customer was whoever was going to pay me. I don't know. I feel like a lot of businesses maybe start there.
Yeah.
And that's why niching feels like the opposite of that.
Yeah.
Like setting your laser sights on doing one thing feels restrictive. But yeah, your business coach is like 100% right. As I became more and more focused, then whenever I spoke about what I did, it's like it attracted the right people. I was talking to my wife, who's got a business too. We were talking yesterday about magnetic marketing, and I like the term because like magnets pull, but then they also repel.
Sure.
So when you do everything, you're not, even if you get attention, you don't really know if you're pulling the right customer.
Sure.
Because you're just pulling anybody with a pulse that's like somewhat interested in what you're doing. But then when you're super, super specific, then you're pulling people that are like, they want exactly what you offer. And then you're repelling people that don't. So then even sorting through leads and sorting through people who are coming into your business, you're like, oh, I'm talking to the same type of person that wants what I sell, as opposed to anybody with a pulse that's like somewhat interested in video or whatever.
Sure. Yeah. And a big part of hopping into brand films too is, one, I do believe in the product. Like, I think it's a video that can live anywhere and everywhere. Like, it can live on the top of your website, it can live in your email campaigns, it can go before you in a sales conversation, but it's a tool that qualifies. But secondly, I also wanted a way to attract the right people. And that's where I am in my journey, is like, I'm working towards qualifying the right individuals to pay for a premium product that I finally believe in. Like the core product is something I believe in. I believe in a lot of other services, and we provide other services, but this is the one that, like, if you're not doing video, if you don't have video, this is where you should start. This is the best place to start, because it's going to qualify your ICP, and it's going to quickly explain what you do, who you do it for, and why you do it, which is important. Like, no one people will read that, but more people are going to watch it.
Yeah. I liked the line one of the lines on your website said, your product isn't broken, your story is hidden. Yeah. I love that. I think that's so true. I heard a Myron Golden quote the other day where he said, it's not that there are people out there who don't want to buy what you're selling. It's that you haven't made yourself accessible and available in a way, and easy to find, so that they could buy from you. Yeah. And that's what I thought of when I read that. I was like, yeah, when your story is hidden, you don't exist in your ideal client's mind.
Exactly. Yeah. You it's easy for us as like marketers to do the service and do the advertising for the service, but I say easy, it's relatively easy. But for like a home service company or someone in construction or whatever, what you name it, they are just really good at what they do. And like, maybe they're not in this, like, don't have the time to advertise themselves, but like they just need help along the way.
Yeah, something you said earlier, because I want to actually move into talking about something specifically in your business model. But something you said earlier that that was interesting was, you're talking about your old model. You kind of let the client decide the service they needed. I was just talking to somebody yesterday in this building that's shifting from working on staff at a company to being a consultant, and we were talking about productizing your services. That when you go to a client and you offer a theme and they pick from the buffet, then when you start stacking clients, all of your deliverables are different, which is hard work. That's like chaotic. You're like, this person I'm making pizza, this person I'm making a burger, this person I'm making a dessert.
Sure.
And then the more difficult part about that is leveraging your past work to help you get future work. But when you're doing everything for everybody, it's really difficult then so like, let's say you have a lead coming in and you're like, oh, this job didn't, like, I can't share a testimonial from this job because that doesn't really apply, or this job or this. It becomes harder to use that past work. And then our goal too, while working, is that the work we do yesterday makes it easier to do the job tomorrow, right? Like, you can templatize stuff. You have systems that you have now probably that make it to where you can be more and more efficient. But when you do everything, you're not really building anything. You're just working like crazy.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of, is it's hard to templatize and scale what you're doing if you're super broad, because you don't have a true process. Yeah. Unless you've just made a process for everything. But, I think...
some crazy people out there do.
Yeah. Like, we have processes and onboarding documents and stuff for other services, but they're the top 3 that we get approached for, not for every single thing. So I think there's something to be said about just spending time on one offer, one service, or one product, and perfecting and always refining it, and always working towards making it better, and listening to the responses that you're getting when you're pitching it or selling it.
I love that. So am I right in that you guys do a flat rate model?
Yeah.
Okay.
For the brand film. Yeah.
Dude, okay. I want to talk about this.
Yeah.
Because most of the creatives I talk to, they don't do flat rates. Okay. So, I mean, I can't even tell you too, when I was a creative director in a past life, how many video producers I would talk to where I'm like paying for the hour, for the day, for the assets. I know if you want to add this, there's this new item on the invoice. And it was just like, it felt like I would get a 4-page sheet.
Sure.
Of all the little things I was paying for, and I'm going out and crossing out. So for a flat rate, I'm interested in knowing why you went with the flat rate and what it took to figure out what was the right price.
Yeah. Yeah. So, a couple things.
There's a train going in the background, people.
There's a train. A couple of things.
Oh, hold on. Before you answer, I'm going to open this can so there's not this giant spike in audio when you're talking and saying something really valuable.
Yeah. So I decided to go on the flat rate model via the advice of my business coach.
Okay.
Who I really respect.
Shout out to your business coach. He's giving you dope advice.
Yeah. I respect him greatly, and I think he offers flat rates for his services. Now those are like $100,000 scopes of work, which is a little bit different than what I'm doing. So, but
right now,
what I've learned in my personal life, I've also translated into my business is like full transparency. And I think having a core product that is, locked in at a certain rate is builds trust with people. And it's like, it qualifies as well. Like I don't have to share a number with someone and then back away after I've already spent a lot of time in conversation with them. Now, in terms of finding the right price, I believe this product is worth maybe double than what I'm charging. Yeah. But we're in the early phase of testing it out, and right now I want it to prove itself. And so the way I arrived here is because of that, but also I wanted to create something that was irresistible to my ICP. Yeah. And something that if they're saying no to, they're making a mistake.
Yeah, I love that. When do you think is like the right time to raise prices? What is your instinct?
Right now.
Right.
No.
The price you see is not what you're going to get.
No, the right time for me to raise prices is when we're fulfilling so much of the work that it becomes a demand or we need to scale. Yeah. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or when it's maybe even when it's proven itself, like, it would also be a matter of me changing my ICP. Like like I know what my ICP's marketing budget is right now.
Yeah.
So
upgrading your ideal client.
Upgrading.
You said something really that this is, I honestly don't think many people think about pricing in this way, but if you feel overworked, raising your prices is a great way to buy back time and still make the same amount of money.
Sure.
Like if you're selling let's just say you're selling $1,000 product and you're selling 10 of them, in a month, and that's 40 hours a week, right? And so that's 10K right there. But if I change that product to a 4K product and now I only sell 3 of them, I'm doing the same scope of work and I'm making 12K.
Sure. Yeah, I think also, it depends what your goal is too. Like I know your goal is to be, independent for as long as you can.
Well, margin too. Like my what I think is like the ideal business model is basically maximum ROI for the minimum amount of time.
Sure.
And that's not, that's not the goal I'm building a lifestyle business. A lot of creatives are building lifestyle businesses. If you're building something that you want to have like enterprise value and sell, that's a different mindset, right? Sure. Alex Hormozy is not worrying about, man, I need to protect my free time because that dude is working 24/7 all the time, right? He's like talking about leaving his vacation early to work, and I'm like, no, I want to add days onto my vacation, not take days away. But yeah, for me, that is kind of like the the perfect triangle of values of a business is like maximum profit with maximum margin for maximum impact for the client you want to serve. And yeah, so for me, I'm always trying to think through, how do I buy back more time? How do I make more money? It sounds like getting your cake and eating it too, but I actually think it's possible if it's done smart within a service-based business context.
Sure. Yeah.
But it does, I mean, you're right. You have to upgrade your ICP over time. And pricing, that's why I asked you about pricing, because I feel like pricing is kind of this ballet dance of, I want to pick the right price. I want it to go up enough, but I don't want it to go up to where I have no clients. So then I have to drop it down and, chase the client with the price.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so much I can say to all of that.
Take it. Disagree with me if you,
no.
you want. Like I'm totally.
I don't
totally
disagree
cool with that.
at all. I just have a different approach to it. Like I want the same thing. I value time with my family. I value time with my friends, with my kids. I don't want to be on phone calls while I'm on vacation. So my
editing every single night till 1 a.m.
Right. My approach is I want to have a boutique agency with employees.
Yeah.
5 to 10 employees max. And so right now I'm in I'm in limbo per se of I'm working on the business and I'm working in the business. I'm editing and I'm trying to do business development things. Where I'm headed is, I want to offload a lot of that, but I always want to be working on the business. And as I grow, as I trust, time, as I trust, my contractors and my employee, I think that will come. You just have to trust the process.
Yeah, and there's seasons for that.
Yeah.
And all the work that you're probably doing on the, as an owner operator, all the operations work you're doing is, great for this season right now. But I love that you're wanting to move more towards the owner space.
Sure.
A part of my values for me also came out of hardships working for companies where I gave everything and I had nothing left. And so maybe it's a seasonal reaction going into my, fourth decade of life, but I'm or fifth decade of life, I guess.
This is what I also want to say is because my core product is, it's not the most I've charged for anything, but it's a consistent price that is maybe still out of my comfort zone, even though it shouldn't be at all. And the way I'm getting through that is I'm saying no to a lot of stuff. And for creatives in particular, I think they have to really practice and value saying no, because if they continue to say yes, they're going to be seen as this, a freelancer. In my case, if I were to say yes to all the $1,000 gigs that came my way, that's my standard now. And that's what I'm going to be known for. If you don't think people are going to share that information with someone else, then you're wrong. They're going to say, I know a guy who can do a great job at a low cost.
Because that's the first question. If somebody ever says that to me, I'm like, okay, what do they cost?
Yeah, exactly. So, but also the practice of selling at the price that you should be selling at.
Yep.
You're going to get better at it over time. It's going to be uncomfortable at first. You're going to feel awkward, and you're going to want to say, well, I can drop the price, or you tell me what your budget is.
Yeah.
But the more you practice, the better you're going to get at it. And the better you get at it, the more yeses you're going to have on your table.
100%. Yeah. We talked about this at lunch a week ago. Something that was so helpful for me when I was thinking about selling and pricing, going back to Alex Hormozy, he talked about close rates. And he was saying, if I'm closing more than 30%, I think my pricing's too low. That was mind blowing to think that 3 yeses out of 10 calls, 7 no's, and that means your price is too low. He was saying once he crosses the 30%,
right.
Once he says 4 yeses out of 10, he's okay, the price needs to change and go up. because most of us probably that aren't salesmen. In fact, I actually posted a clip of me giving some sales advice to a creative on a Zoom on TikTok. It's the only viral video I ever had. It had like 50K views in 48 hours. Everybody was like, welcome to sales, like totally dogging me.
Oh, like it's just an obvious thing.
Yeah, or no, they were like saying what you're saying is stupid.
Oh.
But I do think the sales process for people that are selling a service or they're creative, selling their expertise, their intellectual property is a little bit different. But yeah, I think most of us are not used to, or we don't know how to handle no's.
Sure.
But people that are like salesmen for a living, they're like, oh, well, yeah, like I got to they know the metrics. They're like, okay, so 1,000 calls equals, 100 sales. And my inclination, and honestly, a lot of creatives I talk to too, they're going to hear that and say, there's 900 no's.
Yeah.
They're not going to think about the metrics of that,
Yeah. Well, where mine goes to, as I've transitioned from a freelancer to a business owner, is you got to be selling. You got to be like selling all the time, because
always be selling,
dude, like the work is not going to be necessarily coming to you until you have your reputation or you're doing paid ads or whatever. And like you got to be having conversations and like truly getting to know people and love on them. But you got to be doing that a lot, because if you're only in front of 2 people every week, like you're not going to get very far.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Daniel Priestley, he says that you're always pitching. Every single thing that you do is a pitch. Yeah. Like it's a pitch on your value, your beliefs. And so he kind of instructs that to be intentional wherever you're at.
Sure.
And when you talk about what you do 1,000 times, you like that 1,000th and first time, it flows.
Yeah.
Right. Like you're so concise. You're not throwing in filler words. You're not confusing.
Sure.
Question for you. For your discovery process, when a client comes to you, since you're doing brand film, I feel like some people don't even know what their story is. Mm. So what's your process if you are working with a client who like can't even articulate their story? How do you handle that? Because I'm sure you have clients that are figuring that out, or they've never thought about their brand as having a story.
Yeah, I'm gonna like change the question a little bit.
Okay, change it.
Because they do know their story, they don't know their ICP story. And once again, I'm going back to like they don't know who they're selling to, and that's the problem. So instead, in the discovery phase, we are not focusing so much on the origin. Like there's a place and time for that in the film, but it has to start with their customer and figuring out their problems. And that's what the brand film starts with, is like instantly identifying the problem. So that film actually does the job of like getting people's interest and hooking them in to hear that that company is the guide, and they're giving them a path to a solution.
I love that. That's so spot on, dude. That's amazing. They do know their story. They don't know their ICP story. That's great.
Yeah. So
I wrote it down. I'm stealing that.
Yeah.
I'll credit you, of course.
There is, again, a time and place for your story.
Yeah.
And I would call that having empathy and, I wouldn't call it this, as a Donald Miller.
Yeah.
Having empathy and authority in what you do. Like that has a place in the brand film. Empathy, like, or even in your conversations with your ICP.
Yeah.
Like, I understand what you're going through because I've been there.
Yeah.
Here's how we've solved that problem for ourselves and 100 other customers.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. One of the reasons I love I love Donald Miller, even as for me, growing up in the Christian faith and thinking through creativity as an act of care, like creating something, I feel like art solves problems.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I actually think art, if you're someone who believes in the Bible, like in the creation story, I think we see art before we see any hardship come into mankind's story. Like the first piece of art is God looking out on the unformed earth and taking chaos and making order, which is what I think art does.
Sure.
And so when I think about just how you explained it, what I love about it, or even just Donald Miller's approach, is it feels very care-based. Like I'm seeing what I do through the lens of how I help somebody. And I think a lot of business models right now are not built with that mentality.
Sure.
Like they're built for mass appeal. They're built for a maximum profit. That's why like my perfect triangle has to have client impact and meaning there, because you should never sacrifice one without the other. So I love how you said that. Also, what's cool about not knowing their ICP story is that it's an invitation to learn.
Yeah.
And to me, learning is an act of care too. Like if I care about you, I'm going to learn about you. I'm going to get to know you.
Yeah.
There's tons of people that I don't care to know.
Yeah.
Right. And that's a reflection on me. But I love that. I think if your business is, if your business is learning the needs of your ideal client, I just feel like you'll always have clients.
Yeah. I agree with that. Like I'm not, it sounds bad as a business owner, but I don't love being overly salesy. Which is why I've had to work so hard at developing a product that I believe in.
Yeah.
Because if I don't believe in it, I'm going to have a really hard time selling it.
Yeah.
But also most of my sales conversations are with people that I genuinely, want to care for and show that I have an interest in their lives and their well-being and their betterment. So, like that's how my sales conversations typically goes. Like I'm buying someone coffee or buying them lunch, and I want to like get to know how their business is going. Like, are they fulfilled in what they're doing?
Yeah.
And like, what's next? What problem did they have? And like, how can I play a part? And if I never make $1 off of them, but I can be a resource to them, whether it relate to video or not, then I feel like I've done my job. And that person is always going to refer me or come back to me when they do need me.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about AI video. Okay, so AI generated video looking good. Okay. To the layman's eyes, it's looking good.
Sure.
And there are tools out there that can give companies a video from prompts. Mm-hmm. So when you think about your business and you think about your industry, what do you think are the real threats to the video industry? And what do you think is like just a lot of smoke without fire? That's not really going to be an issue. Like, where do you think it goes with these tools?
Yeah, I think, there's a time and place for it. I for context, I use AI every single day. I've used it in video as a tool, but my main problem with AI in video is it's not doing anything to build trust for your business. Which, if you're a service-based business or really any business, in the selling process, people already don't trust you. Like people are responding to cold emails, cold LinkedIn messages way less now than ever. And they are even stopping content. People are stopping less nowadays than ever. And so I just think it's not doing you any favors to build trust or authority for yourself.
So you would say you think that's the threat, is overuse?
Yeah, I mean, overuse, but more so like, again, the trust factor of like, why are you using AI video? Because you think it's the best medium to advertise yourself, because you want to be in par with every other major brand like Nike and whatever in terms of having media online.
Yeah.
Like in my opinion, a iPhone video of yourself is going to perform better and build more trust 100 times over an AI video.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely agree with you. I was having a conversation at the last Small Town Creatives, which shout out you should go to if you're in the North Georgia, Marietta, Kennesaw, Atlanta area.
Please do.
Which at the end you should tell folks where they can follow Small Town Creatives on top of Porchlight Productions.
Totally.
But at our last one, there was a little bit of a conversation around whether it's good, it's like helpful, like great for creatives, or the best thing that's happening to creatives or not.
Sure.
And a lot of the not takes were in regards to disruption to an industry, people losing their jobs.
Sure.
In my my kind of harsh view of that is the fact that technological advances always disrupt industry.
Totally. 100%.
I went and visited a Mercedes assembly factory a couple years ago in Alabama. I'm sure it looked very different than when Henry Ford was doing it.
Oh, yeah.
Right? There was less people in the building. Mm-hmm. But I would say the car industry is not smaller, and the amount of jobs that it provides isn't smaller than back when Henry Ford was making cars.
Sure.
I think the jobs just look different. I'd be curious, where do you think people that are maybe just editors or people that are doing CG, where do you think the most change will be in the video industry?
Yeah,
with these AI tools.
Yeah, I think it's a sensitive topic primarily because like video and every step of the process is an art form, and it's but it is also a tool for marketing. Yeah. And so the way that we plan on it making an impact is really in our like ideation, it playing a part in our ideation, our pre-production process, but also in our post-production. Like we've used it for helping us, we throw in a raw interview and help, allow it to develop a story. Now we don't go 100% based off of that, but I can tell it like I love the story brand framework, and I love, certain sections that we shot. Like, be sure to include that framework and these sections, and it does a pretty good job. But I'm refining it. When it comes to, again, like completely AI video, I just don't. I believe it's
like
going to
voiceless. Like even now, people are. There's tons of advertisements. Like, I don't even have to, like, here's my AI clone, and here's my AI voice. Yeah. And I just used AI to create the script, and you're like, oh, wow, it's a soulless robot.
I think it's going to hurt more than help when it comes down to, like, businesses using it. Yeah. I think ultimately AI is going to speed up our process. Yeah. So, yeah, there's gives and takes. I don't know if that answers your question.
No, it does. It makes me think of, just recently I was on a webinar with a coach named Taki Moore, and he's one of the more famous coaches in the world for business coaches. So, like, he coaches coaches, right? Like, sure. He's coached Alex Hormozy, Dan Martell, a lot of the big names that are popular coaches he coached. Yeah. And he said on this webinar that he was talking about content strategy, and he said some of his lowest viewed videos have resulted in the most clients. Oh. And his highest viewed videos sometimes have resulted in 0 clients. Sure. Because he was saying his strategy used to be create lots of content and create content that got views. Is now going back to even what you said about brand films, his strategy now and what he recommended is create really intentional content that's really valuable for your ideal client. And when 10 people watch it, 9 of them are going to scroll past it. And then the one person that watches that's like, oh my gosh, this is me. This person understands me. He's like, that person's a buyer. Yeah. And it sounds like that's what you're saying in regards to AI assets and film and stuff like that, because most of the people that are using it, or at least what I see online, and even how I've thought about using it, is more goal oriented than strategy oriented. It's like, I need to make content. This allows me to make content. Therefore, I'm going to use it to make content, as opposed to like strategy informed of like, what exactly am I trying to accomplish with this piece of content? Who exactly am I trying to speak to? Because then when it's more strategy based, then there's limitations all of a sudden. You're like, well, I can't really export this all to AI because nobody's going to do that like me.
Sure.
Nobody knows my ideal client like me. And then that changes the pre-production of why you're using those tools.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Again, I just think, I don't know. I try not to have too strong opinions about AI because ultimately I think we're all going to be managers of AI.
Yeah.
I just think, again, like AI video plus business owner plus social media equals 0 more clients.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, you need clients to have a business.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so as we finish up, I have some rapid fire questions, and I'm asking guests on this podcast, which you're the first guest. Thank you.
Yeah.
A couple quick questions at the end. Quick answers. Don't overthink it. Just go with your gut.
Oh, mercy.
If it's just like crazy racy, we'll cut it. Okay. What's the best money you've ever spent on your business?
My first employee.
What's one thing most creatives get wrong about running a business?
You will be taxed to heck on running it, and you have to make a decision. Do I want to be a creative, or do I want to be a business owner? Like, do I want to operate a camera? Do I want to light? Do I want to edit? Or do I want to be a business owner?
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've definitely had to make that conscious decision myself. One thing that I think that creatives get wrong about business is they don't think about product creation. They think about selling their services for money.
Yeah.
Which most of the time looks like selling hours for money.
Yeah.
And they never create products. They say, oh, this is going to take me more time, therefore it's going to be more money.
Yeah.
And so then they're always locked in to, you can't create more time.
Sure.
You only have a certain amount.
Sure.
So I think of that a lot, right? At least the conversations I'm having right now. I'm like, with creatives that are early in their business, I'm like, holy crap, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So totally. I would say, your answer is perfect too. I think I've definitely seen that and I've experienced that. What's a film, album, or piece of creative work that changed how you think about your craft?
Oh gosh.
This is your time to talk about Christopher Nolan. I'm just kidding.
No. Dude, I feel like I love movies. Probably the book Story Brand. Does that count?
Yeah.
That
it's
count.
a creative work.
Yeah, like Donald Miller is one of my favorite
mentors from afar.
Yeah, mentors from afar. And I just think the framework makes sense. I don't think, I don't always stick to the framework perfectly, and that's intentional. But I think if you're someone in marketing or someone who runs a business who needs to start doing marketing, that's a great place to start, because most people have never thought about, their story doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Or like how to frame themselves to their audience. And this book lays it out perfectly. You need to do it simply, and you need to do it in a way that makes your ICP the hero. You're not the hero.
What I love about Story Brand and just Donald Miller's content in general, which shout out Donald Miller, we're sending some business his way, is specifically how simple he makes it.
Yeah.
Most of the time when I thought about marketing early in my career, I thought about assets, posts, videos, content, audio. And what I love about Donald Miller, how he teaches marketing, is it's so much more content story based And then for me as a business owner, I can, if I start there, then any tool I use to record that, it doesn't matter.
Sure.
Because if the content's there, then it becomes just an issue of scale. Like, okay, so how much can I make? How many pieces of content can I make with the same framework?
Totally.
It makes it easier and super accessible.
Yeah. Story is the best way to have more clients.
Yeah.
You're inviting people into something that they are immediately a part of by making them the hero.
Yeah.
And story just resonates with people instead of like an ad that doesn't have story.
Yeah. And again and again and again saying the story.
Yeah.
That's something I'm learning literally right now, because when in the beginning of my business, I shared my story a lot. And now I'm encountering people all the time that are either just now discovering me, or I'm making a new connection. And I'm realizing, oh my gosh, even though it's boring to me to say again and again, the way that the algorithms work, the way that just interactions work, online, digital, in person, like you need to be a continual bullhorn of the same story.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't hit everybody's feet at the same time. And also people on their journey of discovering you, they may be hopping in at a time where they didn't get that post last week. That's why I share a lot with my clients. I'm like, it's okay if you say similar things again and again and again. Nobody's going to get it. Nobody's going to see 100 of your posts in a row.
Sure.
They're going to see one post. 3 days later, they're going to see another one,
Yeah.
And so, repetition, I think, is a key part of storytelling.
Totally.
Okay, what would you tell yourself day one of starting Porchlight? Knowing everything you know now. You just filed your LLC.
Welcome to hell. I'm just kidding. No, I love what I do, so don't take that seriously at all. Oh gosh, buckle up.
Is there any advice? Like, are there any mistakes you felt like you made early on that you're like, oh man, if I would have known that, if I would have been able to go back and take what I know now, I wouldn't have done that?
My business coach shared something with me recently that, like, starting a business, or really anything, is not linear, but especially being an entrepreneur or business owner is not linear. Like, when you start it, I think this is Alex Hormozy too, but when you start it, you think you're like at the top of this wave and you know it all.
Yeah.
And really you have yet to enter the pit of despair. Yeah. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
And so I would tell myself, don't be so weary and don't like be so affected by when you have those moments where like it doesn't seem like it's working.
Yeah.
But just prepare for them.
Yeah.
Budget for them.
Yeah.
And just know that it's not going to go perfectly. You're going to screw up. There's going to be dry seasons. Yep. And that's just part of the process. You're going to learn so much in that downward pit of despair, and then you'll say, okay, I know what I need to do, and you'll work your way out of it.
I love that. Yeah, one of my favorite quotes forever has been this Winston Churchill quote, and he said, "Success is going from failure to failure without losing your enthusiasm." And one of the just mental frameworks that I've learned over the past 10 years that I now teach is that kind of that buoyancy mindset, where it's like, hey, even if I'm in the rockiest part, like I still can stay afloat. And that each moment is not meant to define my whole business. Like, there are seasons for everything. And in understanding that there's seasons, I'm also affirming that seasons don't last forever.
Right.
They're just seasons.
Yeah. Yeah. And as a Christian too, like, I've been, this past year, I've been really like tested in like, do I believe that God is going to provide? And not to say like things aren't going well, but like bringing on a new employee, having a little bit more overhead.
Well, and you've done a lot of change too. Like you're
Right.
focusing, and that all of that too also has a huge mental
Oh yeah.
load. Like it's inevitable that lots of change
Right.
means lots of weight.
So yeah, but like, I trust God with my eternity, and but I don't trust Him with tomorrow. Is like something doesn't add up there, and so I've really like challenged myself to trust in that promise that God is going to provide. It may not be the way that I want it to look or the way that I expected, but I know that promise is going to be true. And knowing that, like, I can take a lot more leaps of faith and not let the seasons of despair or drought or whatever disrupt my like enthusiasm or my joy.
The valley of the shadow of death.
Yeah, exactly.
I wrote this in my journal a couple months ago, very similar to you, processing. This is a lot of new in my life. And so in the new, because I started my business last August. So having worked a salary job for 2 decades, there's a lot of things to learn. And there's a lot of feeling of catching up, like, oh, I should know this already, or I should have figured that out beforehand. And I was reading in the Sermon on the Mount where Jesus says, "Ask and you shall receive." And my wife was telling me, hey, you should start praying, like for your business, that God would help you learn the things you need to learn. Mm-hmm. And what was interesting to me is I was reading that verse in my mind and immediately went, okay, like what does he mean spiritually? Mm-hmm. I limited that scripture immediately to meaning a very specific thing and not meaning other things. And so I wrote down, I was like, I'm going to read what God said with a growth mindset, that it's not limited to the things I believe he's just saying this, that I'll let him be the no. And I'll take the promise as far as I can possibly go. And it's like, hey, if I need more income in my house or I need to get more clients, like I'm going to pray for it. Yeah. And if I need to figure out when to hire somebody, I'll pray for it. Yeah. And then I'm going to make decisions in faith, knowing that he's going to take care of me. And I'm going to let him show me where the scarcity is. Yeah. And then my job is just to trust and trust and trust until I hit a no. Yeah. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. What I completely agree with all of that. And I do the same thing. But what I would also like tell a creative too, or someone starting a business, is like, you have to hold it like this, because God may not want you to be a business owner. God may not want you to be an entrepreneur. He may have different and better things for you. And so like, while I do believe all that and practice that, I also like know in my heart that like it could be tomorrow that everything comes crashing down and it's like I only have so much control, and I can only be a good steward of what God has given me today.
Yeah 100%. I taught literature for a while, and all my favorite authors in time, they had the craziest eclectic career path. This is the weirdest resume. Like John Milton's one of my favorite writers, and John Milton's like, oh, he writes pamphlets for the British government, and he's like the head of propaganda for the government, and he's doing this, and he's working in education. It's like, it's just job after job, and he becomes an author at the end of his life. But it's a reminder that our lives are not linear.
Yeah.
Okay, my last one. So I've been coining this term that I'm using a lot, and I'm interested. I'm just going to say the phrase, and I want to hear what your take is. Okay, so I'm going to ask every guest this question for a while. What does wealthy creative mean to you?
Oh, this isn't fair because we talked about this at lunch.
Okay. But I'm just curious. Yeah. Like when you hear that term, is there any like, or what immediately comes to your mind?
Whenever I first heard it, I was like, okay, said every other, guru or whatever, whatever. But no, like what you've described it to mean, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, is like you're wealthy in maybe spirit, and like maybe it does mean financially, but also you're wealthy in that like you put God and family at the top of your priority list.
Yeah.
And that's wealth. Like you are wealthy. And how do you earn back time and all those things that we talked about. And I resonate with that a lot because I've had people describe to me the way that they have broken their back to make their business successful, and the labor that they've put into it, which is all good. Like those are all good things, but sometimes being a bachelor with no kids and starting a business is a lot easier than starting a business when you have kids and when you have a spouse at home. So I've always had actually I've not always had this, but as I've ran a business, I have began to remind myself over and over again that my family, my relationship with God, my kids are immensely more valuable than my business.
Yep.
And I'm always going to prioritize time with them above what I'm doing at work. And that's a true struggle. Like, like sometimes I would, sometimes my safe space is grinding it out at work. But I am wealthy. I am wealthy by having 2 kids and a wife, and my relationship with God and the way that He's blessed me. Like, I'm wealthy.
I love that. Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. And I kind of picked a term that it could be polarizing a little bit.
Sure. Well, it's definitely catchy. And then you being able to hook and say, well, this is what I actually mean by wealthy. Like, I want you to be successful in what you're doing, but you need to build it in a way where you have boundaries in place and you're prioritizing your well-being and your family and hopefully your relationship with God.
Yeah, I mean, the job in my career that I made the most money, I was the most miserable. So even though, the world and the market, when they hear wealth, they think of assets, they think of money.
Right.
I think as a creative, part of the unique way that we've been crafted is we find a lot of wealth in being able to do what we love with the people we love.
Yeah.
I think everybody, also caveat, I actually think everybody's a creative.
Yeah.
I think if you're listening to this right now, you're having thoughts about what we're saying, which is creativity.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
I think for the creative entrepreneurs, a lot of times I don't even think we use the word wealthy when we think about ourselves a lot. We think of successful or unsuccessful, but the term wealthy to me is like, hey, yeah, we want our businesses to pay our bills and our mortgage and be able to, send our kids to school and feed them. But also I want to ensure that I'm building something that creates space for me to enjoy the ones I love, to invest in the things that really matter, to be creative. I think when our schedules, when we grind away, we remove space to be creatives.
Sure.
Right? Because it's a different side of your mind, the doing and the getting tasks done, as opposed to like being inspired and having vision.
Totally.
And then lastly too, I think wealthy and impact is huge. Not just on your clients, but also for the people you love. I want my kids at your funeral, your clients are not going to be the ones crying the most.
Yeah. Probably won't be there.
They probably won't be there.
Well, I mean, they might be, but
they might. I often remember, not to like bring it down, but I remember when my dad's funeral happened, he did have some work people there, but the amount, there was probably like 20% of the, it was a bigger funeral. It was like 400 people there. So like 20% were people from work but what's interesting about work is the people that were there from work are the ones he intentionally built relationship with.
Right.
And then the 80% of the room was all people that he had invested in his life. And my dad optimized his life for family.
Yeah. And I'm sure those people weren't saying he was such a good business owner or he was such a great worker or he worked so hard. they were saying like he really cared about people. He enjoyed time with his family.
He listened to me.
Yeah, all those things.
100%. And so, yeah, being wealthy, I think, has to include all that. If you only have one, I don't think you're wealthy.
Yeah.
Like, I think you're a slave. If you're just doing it for money at the expense of the other two, you're actually not wealthy. You're in slavery.
Yeah. We often ask our clients why they do what they do. And I always, like, I intentionally preface it and I say outside of like, making money or becoming wealthy, because I'm genuinely scared they're going to say, I do it because I want to have money. Like what are you doing? Why are you doing it? Like, is it for the betterment of your community? What are you doing to like make a lasting difference in people's lives?
Yeah. To end it with a Denzel Washington quote.
Could have never planned that.
Denzel said, "There are no U-Hauls being pulled by hearses."
Right.
On the way to the graveyard, there is no U-Haul with stuff. Like, all the stuff is going to pass away. The sum of your life will not be measured in things.
Totally.
But in people.
Totally.
So, all right, dude. Thanks for the conversation. This was fun.
Yeah, man. It's my first podcast too, so.
My first podcast is Wealthy Creatives. You're the first podcast guest. Wow, a lot of firsts here.
Yeah, a lot of firsts.
Well, cool, dude. I appreciate it.
Yeah, can I plug myself?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Why don't we finish with you telling folks where they can find Porchlight and where they can find Small Town Creatives.
Yeah, so you can find Porchlight at porchlight.productions. There's no .com to that. And then our Instagram is Porchlight Productions as well. Has a lot of our work on there, and we're trying to be consistent about posting. LinkedIn, Joseph Ibarra, and Porchlight Productions as well. And then Small Town Creatives is a creative community for probably someone who's listening to this podcast. We meet usually the second Thursdays of every month at the Circuit in Woodstock. It is for creative professionals. Creatives tend to have they tend to isolate themselves a lot. And so we're challenging them to get out and be in person and commune with other people. We've seen other people get work, like get clients at these things, or they share work, they offload different stuff. We've seen people learn and grow. We have speakers, or we just mingle, but typically we have a speaker with a keynote who's providing something truly valuable to you. So
awesome.
Oh, and that's I think it's smalltowncreatives.net.
.net, okay.
Yeah, hold on.
And they're on Instagram, but there's an underscore at the end of the name because some joker already took Small Town Creatives.
It's true. But it is smalltowncreatives.net.
Awesome. Cool. Well, cool, dude.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.